Good evening, good evening. Welcome, welcome. All right, you all, who's joining me live tonight? Because I am super fired up. Good evening, good evening. I'm going to dance it out while I wait for everyone to get on and join me. I cannot quite speak for what is going on from my laptop as far as the camera, but my phone does such a better job. I feel like I need another phone just to stream from, because the camera on my phone is so much better than the camera on my webpage on my webcam. I don't get it. I don't get it. Okay, so good evening, welcome. Hey there, good evening, welcome. Jessica Carter, the Peaceful Billionaire here, and this evening, the billionaire frequency is super amped up. Super extra amped up. Yes? Super extra amped up this evening because I'm home. If you notice, right? Back at the house of the Peaceful Billionaire. And I think I mentioned it last week, perhaps, or well, over a week ago now before I left. I think I shared that I was going to share a bit more about the name and the meaning behind the House of the Peaceful Billionaire. So the House of Peaceful Billionaire, right, is my home, Mi Casa, in New York. But the House of the Peaceful Billionaire has a very specific name, and the very specific name of my home is Chateau E. Chateau E. So there's actually a sign on my door that I had custom made, special ordered, that goes on the outside of my door. It looks like the lettering, the numbers on my door, so it completely blends in. It looks very classy and elegant, very fine, beautiful cursive gold letters that say Chateau E. And then when you come in the door, there's another custom made sign that I had made. I got all this stuff on Etsy, by the way, in case you're wondering. And it says, "Welcome to Chateau E, where experiences exceed expectations. Effortless epic endeavors are consistently underway. Elevated emotions are the norm, and an extraordinary life of elegance, excellence, and ease is forever unfolding, always, in all ways." That is something that I had made, that I created the end of last year. It actually, the download and the message, that guidance came through to me when I was on my way back from one of Bill Walsh's events in Vegas, the Ultimate Wealth Camp, which, by the way, I'm actually speaking at the Ultimate Wealth Camp that is coming up. So Bill only does his Ultimate Wealth Camp twice a year, and I attended the one in Vegas this past year, and I am speaking at the Ultimate Wealth Camp in Chicago later this month, towards the end of June. So if you're interested in attending Ultimate Wealth Camp, just shoot me a private message and I will get you access to tickets to come join that event. It is an out of this world event. Bill's amazing. The speakers are amazing. Everyone in the room is someone you want to be in the room with, that you would like to get to know. And so just throwing that out there and sharing that. But again, so just really, so I'm super amped up now that I am home. And part of being home, there's just something extra special about my space, because I really do energetically have my space, even though technically the walls are inanimate objects and the furniture are inanimate objects. I have my space set with intentions, right? My space holds intention for me and my life and what I'm bringing to the world. And even though those same intentions live inside me, it's really, really extra special when I'm home to have my space mirror and reflect that back to me. So that's why the name Chateau E and the message, the meaning is so, so, so special and powerful for me, because my space is holding and reflecting that, is holding that space for me. And it's just, so it's just really, really, really excited to be back in my home, because it is where I feel most at peace. It's where I feel most inspired to create and to lead and to serve. And so, not that I can't do that from anywhere, because I can, and that was part of the whole that was part of my whole point and intention of building a life of true freedom that I absolutely love and that I can't wake up to every day. And but that means getting to be wherever I choose and work from wherever I choose, and to have that freedom and that flexibility. But one of my favorite places to do that truly is home. So I am home, and shortly before I went live this evening, I just got off the phone with one of my best friends in the world, best friends of all time. We have been best friends for, okay, over, oh my God, like literally we cheered together in high school. So I met her my freshman year of high school. She was one year my senior. So I was freshman, she was sophomore when we met. And do I want to share my age? Do I want to put that out there? I don't really mind. But basically that was over 20 years ago now. So she and I have been friends for well over 25 years, not too far away from being friends for 30 years. So really, really special friendship. So not only is she a friend, she happens to be her part of her zone of genius, and she has many talents and many zones of genius, similar to myself. But hers are very different from mine, and one of hers is tech. So towards the when I first started the business, like early on, we were basically just bartering services. So she was helping me with tech stuff and all of the techie stuff behind the scenes. And I was doing sessions for her. We had been working on some things, one of which was, which was a challenge for her, was money. And so we had actually started off working on some other things, and eventually wanted to get to that. But then this year she joined one of my programs, because I was getting so busy and she was so busy, we didn't really have time to do the sessions and the bartering of services as we had been doing. And so I was like, hey, I'm teaching, come be a part of my course, come be a part of this course. I think it's really going to, so that course has been the Peaceful Millionaire Collective. And everything is shifting now into the Peaceful Billionaire. And so even though my group, my clients that are in the Peaceful Millionaire Collective, as of January of this year, when I started opening and tapping into that that billionaire frequency within myself, remember, I always say, like, it's really about the frequency, right? It's not necessarily about the dollar amount, but it's about the frequency of the billions and the expansion that brings within yourself and within your life. So since I've shifted to that frequency, and since I've really taken huge steps and strides in my own leadership this year, just watching similar expansion within my clients has been tremendous. And it caught me so off guard tonight, because I wasn't thinking, right? I was on the phone with my best friend. So I wasn't thinking, I don't think of her in a client perspective, and I wasn't thinking about work at the moment. We were just on the phone having a conversation as we normally would. But it was only been about a year ago that she really was not in a good place financially. She, anytime I would talk to her about financial freedom and things that I had created and investing and that this and that and like all of these things and but for her she was like no 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 no. She was like blocking it out. She didn't want to hear it. And so she just wasn't quite there yet. And she's been in the Peaceful Millionaire Collective since, gosh, not even the beginning of this year, because it was when her job shifted. And so she had a major opportunity open up, because I had been talking to her about it. I was just like, set the intention for and the goals for where it is that you're going. And I was like, it's already there, and it's coming, right? It's going to be there in the perfect timing. And that's how all of that happened. So she shifted. So her financial situation has skyrocketed this year. And so we've had multiple conversations where the bigger thinking is coming in. And then out of nowhere tonight, she completely caught me off guard. And she said, "You're not going to believe this." And I said, "What?" And she said, "So I reactivated my real estate license so that I can start doing some of this commercial stuff. It ties in with other stuff that she is working on, that she does with the person that she partnered up with, that she does business with." And so she's like, "Yeah, I reinstated that, and I've already got some buyers. I've already got some properties and this and that." So she's telling me about all of these things. And she was like, "Yeah," she's like, I haven't even had it active a week, and I already have about $1 billion worth of contracts and sales that are in the pipeline." And I was like, that's amazing. And she said, "Yeah," she was like, "And I just had this book." Basically, like, she's like, "I opened the closet, I was doing some cleaning and some organizing." She said, "I basically had this book fall out that I had bought a year or so ago, and it was like how to earn $100,000 your first year in commercial real estate." And she said, "You're not going to believe this." She was like, "I looked at that book and I was like, psh, $100,000 my first year." She was like, "I want to do $100,000 my first month." And I was like, oh my God. I was like, whoa, 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 whoa. I was like, I'm sorry. Is this my best friend Amber? Like, are you sure you're my best friend Amber? Like, where is she, and what have you done with her?" She just started laughing. She was like, "Yeah," she said, "I was so excited." She was like, "I just looked at it," and she's like, $100,000. She's like, "That's not that much." And I was like, "Okay, you have definitely been hanging out with me and experiencing the $1 billion frequency, the Peaceful Billionaire frequency this year." I was like, "That is so flipping excited." She was like, "Yeah." She was like, "I just looked at it." She was like, that's not a lot. That's not enough." So, or not enough, but not a lot. So seeing that as a small number for her. And so that's one of the things that I talk about so frequently is the numbers. Money, numbers, the dollar amounts themselves are neutral. What's not neutral is how you feel about the numbers, how you feel about the dollar amounts, how you feel about the size of the dollar amounts. And that's why the Peaceful Billionaire expansion and frequency, the frequency of the Peaceful Billionaire and that billionaire $1 billion frequency is so powerful because it's so expansive. So you're just really stepping into a space where in my world of what's possible, I believe anything is possible. I believe in infinite possibilities and infinite opportunities. And so there are no limitations. So when you're really, really, really in that billion dollar frequency, in the Peaceful Billionaire frequency, there is no limitation. Now, it takes work to be fully connected to the frequency, because what gets in the way of the frequency is what's going on up here, right? What's going up here on up here in your mind, in your $27 billion asset that you already own with 27 billion kilowatts of power, right? So you have this insanely valuable, insanely powerful asset that is already yours, right? So you already have a tool, right? A device right inside, right here in between your two ears that gives you the ability to connect to that frequency. But you have to get the limitation out of the way, right? So you have to really master this $27 billion asset so that you can access 100% of it, and you can access 100% of those 27 billion kilowatts of power, right? And so what gets in the way of that are the negative thoughts, the negative emotions, speaking, right? Negative speech, whether so that's sometimes what gets lost in translation is when it comes to I always speak about co-creation being your thoughts plus your feelings plus your beliefs. The sum of those three things leads to your actions. The sum of all four of those things determines your reality or your outcome, right? And depending on the quality of those things, depends on the quality of your outcome, the quality of your results, or the quality of your reality, right? All of those things are synonymous with one another. And what and in with being on the path of the peaceful billionaire, right? What that means is that you think in a certain way, that you speak in a certain way, that you act in a certain way. And feelings, your emotions, and how you're feeling, the emotion that is behind those thoughts, those words, those actions, right? The emotion that is behind it is the fuel, is the jet fuel. And so a lot of times that's certain things get diluted. And so that's why I've spoken to you before about why I speak into mastering your $27 billion asset, mastering your mind versus simply mindset, because it's so much more than mindset. I did a live about that not too long ago, right? So my my issue around mindset is, yes, mindset is important. It's just not the be all end all, because mindset is you're only tapping into 5% of your mind. So you're only creating change or improvement in 5% of your mind, which means you're only, right, improving, accessing, utilizing 5% of your $27 billion asset and 5% of those 27 billion kilowatts of power that are available to you, right? So everything that I do is very strategic and intentional for you to use what? To use what? 100%. What's the number? 100%. One more time. What is the number? 100% of your mind. 100% of the $27 billion asset you already own. 100% of those 27 billion kilowatts of power. And how to direct that, right? To harness it, to laser focus it towards the financial destiny of your choosing, towards true freedom. Now, what does true freedom mean, right? True freedom means financial freedom. It means freedom from fear, freedom from lack, freedom from negativity, freedom from worry, from self-doubt, freedom from limitation, freedom from insecurity, right? Freedom, true freedom, right? True freedom. Because all of those things you have to peel back those layers of the fears, the thoughts, the beliefs that are limiting, that are unsupportive. You have to peel those back and actually reprogram, right? Reprogram your mind so that those, what seems like a perceived limitation, challenge, obstacle, problem is no longer an obstacle, challenge, problem, or limitation, right? You're really living and creating your wealth, your financial freedom, your success from the highest place within yourself, from your highest potential. You are accessing, right? You're accessing your highest potential. You're accessing your full wealth potential, right? By connecting to, by accessing that frequency, by accessing the value and the power of your mind, by accessing that $27 billion asset, 100% of it and 100% of those 27 billion kilowatts of power, and then directing it towards, right, the financial destiny of your choosing. Now, the financial aspect of it is important, yes. And so it is always my intention to bring you more financial success, right? And more of that path to financial freedom. However, right? However, remember, all of the money in the world isn't going to feel good if you're mentally, physically, spiritually, or emotionally bankrupt, right? So the journey to wealth and freedom is the journey to true freedom, right? True freedom. So freedom, financial freedom, freedom in the outer world of money is the financial freedom, and then freedom in your inner world. So you have an inner world of money, but it's not just your inner world of money, it's your entire inner world. Freedom within your inner world, peace of mind, right? Peace of mind. If you've ever heard me describe my definition of wealth or success, right? My definition of success is doing work that I love, spending time with people that I love, living with passion and joy in my spirit, peace and possibility in my mind, and health and vitality in my body, as well as, right, as well as plenty of financial success so that I can have a greater capacity to contribute to the highest good of all. So that's success, right? That's success for myself. That's how I define it. And so therefore that's how I experience it. And then wealth for me is having plenty, right? Plenty of financial wealth, plenty of love, plenty of health. And again, plenty of that financial wealth to enjoy enhanced experiences with the people that I love, and to have an even greater capacity to contribute to that highest good of all, right? So that's where that comes from for me. So that place of plenty, that place of excess, right? And so true, right? True prosperity, true abundance is having an excess of all of those things, an excess of financial abundance and prosperity, but also in excess of freedom within, right? So there's automatically more love, more joy. There's freedom from stress, from lack, from stress, from scarcity, from overwhelm, from limitation, from insecurity, from self-doubt, from quote unquote imposter syndrome, which I'm not going to go down that tangent or that rabbit hole this evening. I do have some unique thoughts that I share on that. But I've been riffing, and it's been 22 minutes, and everyone is amazing tonight. So really quick before I wrap up, just, you can catch me live. Remember, and you can catch me live any day, Monday through Friday. Monday through Thursday, it's always at a random time, tends to often be in the evenings. And then on Fridays, I'm always live at 11:30 Eastern time on LinkedIn, on YouTube, on Facebook, and on Instagram. So I think I got that right. All the four what I consider major platforms, but it really depends on what platform you like. So there's no judgment there. But I am on 4 of them, so hopefully there's one of those 4 is a favorite or a go-to for you. And if it is, you can find me at The Peaceful Billionaire on any of those platforms, but in particular on YouTube. At The Peaceful Billionaire is my YouTube channel, and you can find me there. Click the subscribe button so that you always have access to any of the replays. So if you ever want to tap in and connect to this frequency, this energy, this is available to you anytime you choose it. Anytime you choose it, by just being present, by being here with me, you're accessing the frequency, right? You're accessing the frequency. And some people were like, well, wait a minute, but like when I'm with you, I just had a client this week. She was like, when I'm with you and we have our calls, I get off the phone and I get off of Zoom and I want to like go take over the world. And she was like, and then and go do a workout and run and all these things. And she was like, then by the next day, it's not as strong. And I was like, that's part of the work, right? Like we're still on the journey of creating that within herself. I said, but until then, right? Until you're fully fully at that frequency within yourself, meaning that your cells are fully vibrating at that frequency, and that becomes your baseline frequency. Until you get there, it's okay to borrow mine, right? It's okay to borrow mine. So that is why I show up and serve from such an exuberant place of excess and such an exuberant place of plenty, is so that you have access to it without you're never taking anything away from me, because this is a state of overflow and a state of plenty. And so I can give and give and give and give and give to my clients and to anyone who follows me, because I'm giving from excess and overflow. And so I have so much to give, and it doesn't ever deplete me, right? Because it's coming from that place. So you can catch me live on Fridays at 11:30 Eastern time. You can find me on any of the social media platforms at The Peaceful Billionaire, in particular on YouTube, if you'd like to catch any of the replays to connect with this frequency anytime you choose. And also on YouTube, you'll have access to catch my vlog, which is the Mission to Billions vlog. And that is my behind the scenes journey of what's going down this year on my own journey of creating unprecedented levels of wealth and success, and staying in my frequency. And again, what is required internally, externally, it's a full, transparent, behind the scenes journey. I share the highs, the lows, everything in between, because I am still human, as much as I don't love to admit that. I am still human, and so there are dips. There's still days where I'm like, I don't feel like I'm doing anything right. I don't feel like I have what it takes. But those moments are so brief. I hear that stuff and it pops into my mind, and I was like, I'm sorry. Like, that's not true. Who do you think you're talking to? So what happens is those things become the volume of those things becomes so low, and they become so frequent that I really don't have to give them any attention or focus or energy, and so they don't take me off course, at least not anymore. Now, that wasn't always the case, right? That was not always the case, and that's why I am here serving and doing what I've been called and guided and asked to do in the world, because I was like, it was everything that I required. And I've always had this unique operating system in my brain. Having been an only child, I spent a whole lot of time with myself in my own mind. And so I've always been very observant. I've always internally processed things, and I've always been a seeker. I've always been a seeker of, well, is there a better way? And 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 when it comes to wealth and financial freedom and peace and fulfillment and mastering your mind, mastering money, mastering success, that has become my zone of genius. There is nothing that I'm more passionate about in this world than giving you access to 100% of your mind, to 100% of this $27 billion asset and those 27 billion kilowatts of power that are already yours, to give you access to that, to support you in directing that towards true freedom, in supporting you and guiding you on the path and the journey to true freedom, right? Both internally and externally. True freedom is internal and external. It's financial freedom in the outer world of money, and it is true peace, fulfillment, love, joy that just absolutely radiates from within. And the fear isn't there, and the lack isn't there, and the scarcity isn't there. I have so many clients who are on opposite ends of the spectrum. I have some clients who are already like hella successful, wealthy, but they can't slow down. They can't turn it off. They're not free. They're afraid they're going to lose it. They're afraid if they stop, if they slow down, they're going to lose it. There's still fear. right? So just because someone has a lot of money, that doesn't mean they have true freedom, right? And that doesn't even mean that they have financial freedom. I work with some really, really high level clients who make a lot of money, and they're looking to be debt free rather than and to pay down debt rather than to build an investment to invest that money into an asset that pays for the other asset. And so it's always surprising when I listen to those clients. They're always surprised because I listen, right? Remember, you can't see your own blind spot. So I listen and I'm like, well, but do you really, is that really where you want to direct that money and that energy and that focus? Or would you rather direct that energy and that focus this direction and invest it so that that money is now an asset, right? So that money that you were going to use to pay something off is now money that is working for you without you having to work for it, and it's going to pay down that asset, right? So just really thinking about how it is, regardless of how much money you make, where is that focus and that energy and that money being directed? And are you putting your money to work for you, or are you still working for money and trading time for money? So those are very, very different things, and I'll be chatting more about that in upcoming lives. I chat about that all the time because it doesn't matter where you are on your journey, there's still a lot of things to learn when it comes to true freedom, and really having that freedom both internally and externally. And that's what is so potent and special and powerful to me, is to give that access, to give you access to true freedom, not just financial freedom, right? Not just the internal freedom, but both, and to build that and to create that simultaneously. All right. All right. I could jam on this forever, but it is getting late, and I am going to wish you and send you infinite peace, prosperity, and blessings. Good morning if you're on the other side of the world. Good evening if you're here in if you're here in the States. Either way, I will see you tomorrow. Bye for now. Ending. Ending. Bye for now. Bye for now.